Hi, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome. This is Inside the Presidency, and I'm your humble servant, ASHU, NYENTY, in Yaoundé. There is no doubt this government has, up to this point, shown considerable leadership and foresight in the management of the COVID-19 pandemic. 5 years ago, President Paul Biya talked about the need to bridge the digital economic gap in this country. Hardly did anyone know that this country will need all these resources at this time. Time has proven him right once again. We seek to see how this crucial sector has helped this nation in keeping its activities afloat, COVID-19 notwithstanding. Our guest is the Minister of Post and Telecommunication, Madame Minette LIBôM LIKÉNG. But before we bring our guest on board, just watch this. The entire Cameroon is at this time, as the rest of the world, mobilized like never before to kick the coronavirus out of human existence. Our president especially is at the center of it all. His apparent silence is neither a mark of weakness nor a lack of what to say. Such to him are moments of reflection, to nurture and to mature before swinging into action. This has been particularly evident in his handling of the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. Not distracted by contrary views, Paul Biya is not impetuous. His actions have been surgical, incremental and methodical in handling the situation. On Saturday, April 4, he commissioned the Minister of State, Secretary General of the Presidency, Ferdinand Ngongo, to visit several sites destined to hold the growing numbers of affected persons in the capital city. The President's envoy stops at the Cameroon Public Health Emergency Operations Center, which is a live wire in Cameroon's strategy against COVID-19. Here, he congratulates and comforts several workers burning the midnight oil, working in round-the-clock shifts. Shortly before then, Ferdinand Ngongo visited the Yaoundé Military Stadium, where over 1,000 beds are to be erected for new patients, and also the locale of a commercial center at the Mbokbi neighborhood in Yaoundé. Ferdinand Ngongo was accompanied on these visits by the Minister of Public Health, Manauda Malashi, the Minister of Trade, Luke Magloambaga Tangana, and the Governor of the Central Region, Nasiri Paul Biya. President Paul Biya has, from the very beginning, adopted an anticipatory approach in the management of this global health menace, adapting his strategy to the factual parameters of the virus on Cameroonian soil. The President receives regular briefings on the state of evolution. It is on the strength of these field reports that the President determines the additional measures to propose to the Cameroonian population. The organization the President has put in place in this fight is both pyramidal and transversal, ensuring that no detail is left to chance. The setting up of these extra hospital sites is just the latest in a series of cascading measures Paul Biya has taken to ensure Cameroon gets it right and never to be surprised by the turn of events. Even before the first cases were diagnosed on Cameroonian soil, the President demonstrated the three basic requirements in handling a major health crisis: leadership, calming the fears of the population, and providing up-to-speed and transparent information. Apart from the 50 million francs assistance to over 300 Cameroonians trapped in the COVID-19 quarantine in China, the government, under the instructions of the rolled out an initial package of what we have termed the 13 commandments, which have subsequently been reinforced. In the days ahead, many more centers will be created, while an increase in the number of medical personnel and state-of-the-art equipment are envisaged. President Paul Biya is aware that as the struggle continues, time may not be a friend, and there are urgent things to do. He has often shunned the dramatization of political power. As for him, actions speak louder than words. Ladies ladies and gentlemen, you already know my guest today is Madame Minette LIBôm LIKÉNG. She is a Minister of Post and Telecommunication. Madam Minister, thank you very much. This is my first time of having you on Inside the Presidency.
It's also my pleasure. Thank you. Even
though it is under very exceptional circumstances, I want to thank you for receiving us in spite of everything. Madam Minister, I'm sure this talk about the COVID-19 should be terrible for you as a mother and as a minister.
Really, this COVID-19 is terrible. As a family, I have to take care of my children, of my husband, so that no one can break that COVID-19 at home. As a minister, it's also difficult. You know that the head of government give us instructions to make all so that we can stop the spread of that pandemic.
Yeah, we shall be coming into the details of what the head of government told you. Don't bother, just hold your peace for the moment. Now, we came to you because we understand that your ministry plays a central role in President Paul Biya and the government strategy against COVID-19. We'll be talking about that strategic role you are called upon to play. But we are here in this ministry. Madam Minister, can you tell us how this coronavirus has affected the routine, the daily routine, and how business is done in your ministry, the Ministry of Post and Telecommunication, on a daily basis?
Yes, of course. As in every ministry, every administrations, our routine, our daily working have really changed. First of all, we put on leave the non-essential collaborators. And then
they have all gone on leave?
Yes, they are on leave. Just those who have something to do at the ministry. We, of course, put in place all those hygiene measures, washing hands, and from today, having a facial mask.
Compulsory wearing a facial mask, yeah.
Yes, but what we have done is to put in place teleworking. We enhance our platform. So we are having meetings, remote meeting. And all of this put in place really changed the way we were working here, because we need now to use more phone, WhatsApp, and having meeting through teleconference.
Now, tell me in a brief manner, we shall be coming to the details of that. What specific role is your ministry called upon to play in all of this?
Our ministry is in charge of putting ICT telecommunication tools available. So during this period, we have to look of this availability of telecommunications tools, because you need to be connected. And ICTs are very important to enhance all what we are doing. That's why we are really concerned by this matter. Yeah. Yes, according to our position.
Okay, Madam Minister, your answer will permit us to take the first pause of this program. Now, in the editorial I presented at the beginning of the program, I mentioned a number of measures that have been taken by President Paul Biya and implemented or materialized by the government. Now, in addition to that, President Paul Biya also set up this National Solidarity Fund, into which he pumped the whopping sum of 1 billion francs CFA. Now, as at today, how deep is that fund? I put this question to you, Staffman Charles Ebune.
The Special National Solidarity Fund to tackle the deadly coronavirus is one of the responses by President Paul Biya to adequately pull together resources legally to equip the country's sanitary team with an urgent medical yardstick to win the coronavirus health war.
This gesture is a humanitarian action. It's an action that is intended to put together all Cameroonians, to put their resources together to face a common threat that is affecting our nation. And we know the president has made it a culture in the past. When Cameroon is faced with a problem, he has always invited Cameroonians to put their heads together, and this has been done.
2 accounts are opened, one at the public treasury and another at a commercial bank to house the monetary value to donations.
La création d'un fonds.
It is in line with the strategic culture of Cameroon, which seeks to federate all citizens to a common front against an enemy, which in this case is the COVID-19. The president here makes a decision which protects the Cameroonian citizens.
The public treasury account is already credited with a sum of 1.3 billion CFA francs as instructed by President Paul Biya, managed through a special credit budgetary line of the Ministry of Health, which is at the center to combat the coronavirus pandemic.
Traditionally, chiefs in the days of our fathers and forefathers reacted in the same way faced with the plague that threatened the community. The chief sat down with his notables and drew up a strategy to liberate his society from such a plague. We only have to come together and give our contributions so that the special fund should be functional.
The commercial account, specifically for corporate Cameroon, that is companies and individuals, has already nearly 1 billion CFA francs, according to the Ministry of Health officials.
We came here together with all the representatives of our company to bring our support to the Cameroonian government, especially to the Minister of Health, in order to see how we are going to do in order to fight against the coronavirus in Cameroon, considering that the calls of the head of state, Mr. Paul Biya.
The country's business class has been at the forefront to donate with financial loans like Dampolo providing 100 million CFA francs and Sylvestre Nguchinge handing a check of 250 million CFA francs.
Cameroon's part of the cake, it's $250,000 US. We translated it into 150 million francs CFA.
Ordinary Cameroonians too have been contributing since it is a common health challenge, with some giving up to 500,000 francs CFA, according to sources from the Ministry of Health, as part of their answer to the national solidarity call by the President of the Republic, Paul Biya.
That is why we are together here in order to give our support.
A portion of corporate Cameroon and corporate Africa had been on the ground assisting the government financially before President Paul Biya launched the fund to show just how eager they were to build the momentum as soon as the president laid its foundation.
Cameroon has done pretty well in trying under very difficult circumstances, have been very open. The Minister of Health has been very open, providing information, from day one. And we think really our place is not to get into trying to buy kits or provide things in a way which we don't understand what actually the needs are. We felt that we are a bank, we deal with money, we trade in money, so we should give money.
Others have come in with material assistance, such as the Health Access Initiative, which has donated 4,000 protective equipment to the medical corps, Oka food chain with 400,000 bags of rice, and numerous foundations donating masks, for instance. The worth already at least 2 billion CFA francs today within a month of the Special National Solidarity Fund to combat the coronavirus is yet another sure proof that Cameroonians are mobilized just behind one man, their leader, to confront any national tragedy. And here is the man.
Madam Minister, you started talking about that, but let us come back to it in greater detail. In government's 13 commandments, what I call the 13 commandments, commandment number 11, 13 commandments that were, instructed by the president and implemented by the Prime Minister, head of government, Joseph John Gute. And in commandment number 11, it says that public administration shall give preference to electronic communication and digital tools for meeting likely to bring together more than 10 people. How did you facilitate the implementation of this measure? How did your ministry facilitate the implementation of this commandment number 11?
Yes, this 11 commandment really concern our minister. What we did is that we first make an analysis of the other administrations to see if they are able to do with teleworking. But the result was that not many administrations are really equipped to do this new way of working. What we did is that we elaborate a guide to help the other administrations to use electronic tool to have meetings.
To have their daily activities.
Yes, their daily activities without gathering at the same place more than 10 persons. And in that guide, we also show what they can do to develop their own conferencing platform. But at our level, as I said before, we enhance our platform so that we can help the other administration to use our teleconferencing platform. And today, we give it free of charge. And we continue now to work with the other administration, particularly the educational sector. So for that, we also did something else, is that, you know, at this period, everybody wants to be connected. They want to be sure that all the mobile operators, all the providers have internet and electronic communication available.
And so, did you meet the telephone providers, those who provide internet? Did you meet those companies to ask them to facilitate things for the different administrations?
Yes, we did it. And first of all, you see, with Camtel, because Camtel is the main operator who can really make this procedure to succeed. And Camtel wish band to connection to internet 50 to 60% for health service, for educational services and administration. And you can even realize through your mobile phone that MTN, Orange has reduced the fees of money transfer, and we are still discussing so that the health staff on the fields can have the facilities to reduce the fees of connectivity of communications.
Yeah, you did well to mention that, Madam Minister, because users, the general public, maybe thought that with this they were going to reduce the rates, the fees, but they don't seem to see that. So because they too will want to communicate, you know, at cheaper cost.
The reality is that in telecommunication sector, you cannot decide like that to reduce or to increase prices. You need to take in consideration so many elements, some data, so it must be regulated. That's why even when Camtel, MTN and Orange were engaged to reduce prices, they need to go and discuss with the regulator to be sure that this will not bring, will not force the competitiveness on the fields. So for now, maybe the public cannot realize, but fees are really have been slashed down. You can go and check it. Try to see many offers made by the mobile operators. And as I say, Camtel, 60% is what we need so that our health services, our educational to administration to have those distance working.
Yeah, the facilities.
Yes, those facilities.
That's good news to hear, Madam.
Very good news. It's a reality.
How would you evaluate the video conferencing? Has this been very, very successful in your estimation?
First of all, what I want to say is that it's not good to connect all to COVID-19. There are some administrations who were already involved in video conference. I can take the example of Compost, who have his platform since many years. Of course, now, with COVID-19, administration were obliged now because of distancing, the way that
social distancing.
Social distancing, everybody is involved. And I think that today, the use of telework, video conference is rooting in Cameroon. The Prime Minister, head of government, since many weeks, all the cabinet meeting, interministerial meeting are done by video conference, and it's very easy. As I said before, we have developed our teleconferencing platform. We share it with the other administration every day because our platform can host 20 parallel meetings. It means that any minister who asks for it, we make a program. So we receive many demands from other ministry, and they are holding teleworking. So I can say that through COVID-19, everybody now discover the importance of teleworking, and it's very easy.
You started saying, let me just ask you the question, Madam Minister. Definitely, we are saying that from what you are saying, that after COVID-19, it should be something that should be encouraged, the new mode of working in our public administrations.
Of course, you see, e-learning, e-administration, e-education are key elements for the digital transformation of society. It means that even after COVID-19, we should continue to do it. And it's what the head of state asked us to do, to speed up the transformation of a society. So it means that after COVID-19, you cannot abandon the good habits, because people really test that it's very easy.
And it's good.
And it's good. Why don't, and all the world, it is on that way that we are going. All the world now is digitalizing.
We'll take a second pause on this program. Madam Minister has talked a lot about that. Now we'll see how this new habit has been happening in the different public administrations since the measures were put in place. Now you have been scouting, you have been looking at what the Prime Minister and other members of government have been doing. You put all of this together, Staff Lady Sisako Tamko.
Three weeks ago, the country identified 2 cases. Now, it is a 3-digit number and moving to 1,000. There are signs that show that the infection rate of COVID-19 may accelerate, and flattening the curve may be a difficult task, even as government wraps up efforts to tackle the corona pandemic. The virus has now stretched to 6 regions, and in the face of an unknown enemy and cure, efforts have been largely preventive. Government, under the guidance of the head of state, is relying on timely transmission rate, interruption, treating early detection, and effective treatment. Some of the public hygiene measures, such as washing of hands before entry and exit in public places, are beginning to be customary habits, but the majority of the population are not yielding to other hygiene measures prescribed by authorities and the WHO. The government, through video conferences organized by the Prime Minister at his lakeside residence, has been working remotely in an attempt to practice social distancing, a crucially important public health intervention that can help stop transmission of the coronavirus. The video conferences kept the theme abreast with how measures taken in the different sectors are being implemented, especially ensuring that there be no blank school year. With COVID-19, many people will at some point, either this year or next, get exposed to this virus. Social distancing, health authorities argue, can dramatically slow the rate of which the infection spreads. Best practices require maintaining at least 6-foot distance between yourself and others. By so doing, one is helping oneself, the family, and the community. Even after explaining the sanctions that await defaulters, the irresponsible and uncivic behavior by traders in markets, bar owners, motorbikes, bus and taxi drivers that overload are making things difficult for the authorities. Some churches are playing games, holding services at night and not respecting the 50 persons assembly in a given time and space. The case of a couple in Douala is still fresh in the mind. A police commissioner's wife who returned from abroad reportedly skipped the mandatory 14-day quarantine which is recommended by the WHO and whose outcome was fatal. Some bribe their way not to go on confinement. Even when in confinement, some indulge in irresponsible behavior. The campaign by for screening in epicenters of Yaoundé and Douala is intended for voluntary participation to enable authorities to identify and isolate cases for eventual treatment. As of now, the exercise is partially appreciated. The recent decision by Health Minister advising the public to stay at home except extremely necessary and wear a mask when you go outside is partially respected too. Some administrations are making it mandatory for members of the public to wear masks inside supermarkets and offices, which they believe may decrease the spread of the virus by 80%. The recent measures taken by the government that the wearing of masks is mandatory in public sphere goes into effect on April 13. This is yet another guidelines for the public to respect. As experts around the world actively search for a cure and vaccine, the government stands by its recommendation that hand washing and social distancing are still the best practices to protect against the virus and beat back the outbreak. If the battle is lost, the virus might transition from being the cause of a temporary epidemic outbreak to one that causes a new circulating disease. But the progression will be driven by social and political tolerance for the new illness almost as much as it is by biology. Empathy and solidarity are the only rational response in global epidemic fight, and this appeals to our consciences.
On the 31st of December 2015, talking about development of communication and telecommunication infrastructure. 31st of December, the end of year speech 2015, this is what President Paul Biya said, and I will quote him in extenso. He said, "We must rapidly bridge the digital economy development gap. These are the marks of a visionary leader who had anticipated that at some point in time, Cameroon will need all of this infrastructure, Madam Minister." That was quite visionary.
You are right. The head of state is really a visionary. And even you quote the speech of December 2015, but if you go through all his speeches, he's always in advance. Now, he said it in 2015. We discovered that today we are in need of those infrastructure. What I can say is that since he have said this, our ministry were really committed and engaged to create an environment that will enable the development of digital economy. And this go through, I can say, 3 ways. First, the infrastructures are very important. And we have modernized our infrastructure. Regulation is very important to have on the market is a very good competitiveness, and when you attract some investor. And then if you have infrastructure, it's like you have road without cars to drive on it. It's for contents. And what we have done is to create an environment that can help young people, because startups, young people are better trained and mobilized really to create contents to that 3rd pillar. Concretely, in our country, what we have done have some results. Today we have 20 kilometers line of optic fiber. All the country is covered. All the region, all the main cities are covered. The capacity is more than 40 terabits. And then, when you see at the level of regulation, we have reviewed the concession of MTN and Orange. And then, lastly, it was with Camtel to regularize the situation of Camtel. Now, today, Camtel has been granted 3 concessions to establish and monitor telecommunication platform on fixed, mobile, and then transport. About young people, you remember that last year we have organized the first Innovation Week under the high patronage of the head of state. And through this competition, 21 young people were awarded prizes for their innovative activities on digital transformation. That means that our country is really as follow the vision of the head of state.
You are thinking of the young people at the Silicon Mountain in Buea. This is where one of the hubs of the development of startups, especially in telecommunications.
Silicon Mountain of Buea is sort of showcase of what young people can do. But you see, when you go, I try to analyze what they are doing. Is everybody would try to do something.
Not
it's
organized.
not well organized. And what we are working for is to create a real environment that can allow young people to innovate and to create. That's what in this year, 2020, we plan to launch the very first Center of Development of Digital Economy for young people. It will allow to detect, encourage, train until they go, incubate, until they go to the market. But in all over the country, young people are very intelligent, very engaged, because they follow the message, the call of the head of state, not to wait everything to be put in place. And we can name a lot of them. There are many, along Olivier Madiba, and so on. They are very, ASHU, Churchill, there are many. So Silicon Mountain of Boya will be, we have it in the pipe. We must create really, like, how can I say,
something
a
big.
digital city big
Mm-hmm.
to help those young people.
Now, what has been the impact of COVID-19 on the telecommunication sector?
The impact is a little bit mixed. The good
Mitigated.
part,
Yeah.
yes. The positive one is that because of social distancing, lockdown in-house, there is an increase of demand of telecommunication services. But in the other hand, you know that some factories close, societies, and even some big enterprises who used to consume internet have closed. So there is a decrease in the consumption of some other service providing by our sector. But in reality, I can say that all this is balanced. COVID-19 give the opportunity to the sector of telecommunication and ICT all over the world to show how important this sector is to achieve all the measures put in place by governments. Because through ICT, you can achieve more. And I can say that in Cameroon, we have some plus and some minus.
Okay. Even though talking about the ICTs, a lot of fake information is being passed, propagation of false information concerning COVID-19. Madam Minister, what infrastructure is there to monitor all of this fake information that is misleading some Cameroonians on what COVID-19 is all about and the fight against COVID-19?
Please let me repeat what I used to say in my different speeches. Internet is a fantastic tool, but it also have a very bad side. Internet is non-regulated, but give the opportunity for people with different agenda to be in contact with a lot of people. Beyond any suite, any WhatsApp, any online message, there is an invisible and difficult to track person. So you must check information. Don't take it for granted. Now, according to COVID-19, I think that the main informations are provided by the Ministry of Health on his website and all the other means of communication. The World Health Organization, his website, and even all the support of communication. If you have any doubt, you can call that free number or go near the health administration near the place where you are. It means that we cannot change the way the world is moving, but we need to develop a personal attitude, because sensibilization is a matter of each and everyone.
But do you do messages to put on the internet to warn people against information? Not much has been seen in that.
For government work is organized. We have done it. You remember, we went beyond just sharing message through phones. We have organized sensibilization session for young people through our ICT summer camps, and we even train journalists. And I think that this year we have another very important program. We are going to launch a national campaign to fight against cyber criminality, to develop a cyber security culture in Cameroon. It will be done in national languages, and you know, you cannot, communication, I didn't teach you anything. If you want to sensitize people, if you want to share a message, be sure that you have organized it well, and you have identified the final person who was received the message, and your message must be different according to the level of the people receiving those messages.
Okay, madam, our schools, educational extension have the infrastructure to be able to promote e-learning. Now students and pupils are at home. Do they have the necessary infrastructure so that people could learn distance learning, e-learning, and so on and so forth?
As I said before, we had a program to put all those infrastructure in place, but the financing didn't come at time. So we are surprised for now the necessity to proceed with distance learning. There are some platforms existing. As I said, we have one. Our platform is so strong that it can allow people to share documents, to share screen, and even to assume that distance learning. We are already working with Minette, and she used our platform. But the main important problem is that we need to organize a very strong system, because to make e-learning, you need to register classes. You need to interconnect the schools and university, and the head of government asked us, our ministry, to work with educational ministries so that we can develop e-learning, we can develop technical and technological tools to provide distance learning, cyber research, and even e-learning and teleworking. So this is going on. It's not really available. But I heard that CRTV proposed something on that level. The Ministry of Higher Education also have platform, but the main message is that all those activities, even in our high school, SUPTIC, we have an e-learning platform, but it was not generalized. So now, with COVID-19, to limit the consequence of that pandemic on the educational sector, we are using those tools to provide e-learning.
One of the earliest Cameroonian victims, though not in Cameroon, but Cameroonian victims, was Manu Dibango, the famous artist who died in France, of course, struck down by COVID-19. He was a friend of President Paul Biya and Madame Chantal Biya. Now you tell us the story of this famous Cameroonian who was hit by COVID-19, staff lady in Nanga, Kebi.
Voilà, la vie continue.
The sad news of the death of Manu Dibango on the 24th of March 2020, the Cameroonian saxophonist at the age of 86 in Paris of the COVID-19, was a big blow to music fans. It sent shockwaves around the globe, created panic, fear, and the confirmation to many doubting Thomases that the coronavirus pandemic is a reality. Manu Dibango's music shook the world. His discograph spans 6 decades and at least as many genres, with forays into jazz, funk, and hip-hop. Over 60 albums as a singer, songwriter, composer, and saxophonist, instrumentalist, Manu Dibango showed the world a staggering range of African music. But his biggest impact was felt in his homeland, Cameroon.
No problem, the place to go, the place to be.
He remained true and proud of his nationality and native clan Douala and kept his Cameroonian passport, though he left home for further studies in France at the early age of 15. That was in 1949.
I'm Cameroonian up to now. In the early 60s, when they asked us to choose, are you going to remain French or are you going to be Cameroonian? I chose to be Cameroonian.
Through his talent, Manu Dibango was admitted at the French national station France 3 to animate and coordinate a program dubbed Salut Manu. He became well known and respected in France, especially amongst the compatriots there. He animated during many international festivals. He was always amongst the many Cameroonian artists received in audience by the head of state, President Paul Biya, in France. In 2013, during an official visit to France, Manu was amongst the delegation of Cameroonian artists received by the chief executive, President Paul Biya. A historic moment indeed, as the all-smiling Manu impressed President Paul Biya for his role in projecting Cameroonian and African music on the international scene. This Pan-Africanist and a true patriot was also present at the UNESCO headquarters in November 2008 during a solemn ceremony in which Mrs. Chantal Biya received her attributes as a UNESCO Goodwill Ambassador for Education and Social Inclusion, an event chaired by Koichiro Matsura, the former Director General of UNESCO. A coincidence indeed, as it was the same Koichiro Matsura who honored Manu Dibango with the attributes of a UNESCO Peace Ambassador. Still in Paris, Manu Dibango was amongst the special guests invited at the Cameroon Embassy in Paris to participate at the book launch of Mrs. Chantal Biya's blueprint entitled Chantal Biya, the Humanitarian Crusader, presented by the author Beatrix Verhoeven. The visit of Manu Dibango to the Mother and Child Center of the Chantal Biya Foundation portrayed his admiration and support to the humanitarian actions of the First Lady. Never did Manu Dibango ever said anything negative about his fatherland Cameroon, and like a true master, encouraged many young Cameroonian artists to project their cultural background as he did through his music.
I was in New York 2 weeks ago with Sally John, okay? I showed Sally John to the people. They don't know me, except in Cameroon. Richard Bona works with me. If I give the list of all, I'm talking about musicians. Charlotte Mbango, stay with me a lot of time. Charlotte Dipanda was singing with me. All of people that are Cameroonian.
Manu's breakthrough 1972 hit, Soul Makossa, brought African music in Western clubs and charts. This supremely funky enjoyed huge international popularity, and its influence can still be heard today.
See, it was a joke. It was really a joke around Makossa, and the word Makossa. How can I, if I say Makossa, it's a little bit flat to me. But if I can do Mamako, Mamasa around, then you have a rhythm, Mamako, Papa.
Manu recorded constantly all manner of musicians. Simple, charismatic, and humane in character, Manu enjoyed meeting journalists and never shied away from the camera, and displayed a mastery of the two official languages of the country, English and French. Manu lived his music his whole life. He made us hear music in a different way. Since the 70s, Manu was recognized for his bald head, colorful patterned shirts, and dark rectangular glasses. Yet, his bold smiles gave hope to many who aspired to make a name like Manu Dibango. Manu is gone, but his music lives on, forever in our hearts. Adieu, Manu.
Madam Minister, sometimes they say, or there's a saying that every disappointment is a blessing. COVID-19, of course, is a disappointment. We don't like what we are having around, but maybe it could also be a blessing that in a sector like yours, the developments of AI, artificial intelligence, especially in the health sector, look as if there will be so many developments in the telecommunication sector.
You are right. It's what really happened now. As I said before, you see, the development of digital economy in some other country start since many years. For now, look what we are going through. Our health team on the fields need to collect, analyze, and to track people who are positive. So, with AI is what? It's just using the data information through machine to now mix all of this and bring us solution. So, our startups, last week, we have a meeting here. We call the best startup in Cameroon and ask us to elaborate some application with AI which can help us to deal with those activities. So it means that when you are in difficulty, you use what you have. And ICT are really the tools we need now to solve our problem. And through artificial intelligence, you can achieve a lot. You can reach many people. You can, this emergency call, 1510, we visit that call center. We realize that when they call, they notice it on paper, and we propose to use artificial intelligence so that directly, when you receive a call, you remote it to the correct doctor who can, and at the end of the day, you can have the number, the different quality, you can address some requests on the machine, and you have the answer. So, artificial intelligence is now what is necessary really to deal with, to be used in our government riposte to limit the effect of COVID-19.
And will it be possible to track, from what has been happening in the past several weeks, to track those persons who were struck down by COVID-19, those who have been treated and so on? Will it be possible to develop,
yes, it's possible
to track them?
That's what I say.
Automatically?
We call automatically through application. It's easy because you can take one way through geolocalization. It means that if you have your phone number, we know that you have been in contact with somebody who is positive through coronavirus. If you went anywhere, they can follow you, they can track you. They don't just through your phone number, your telephone, because in your phone, you have a geolocalization application, and you combine it, you interconnect it with a database of operators. So it's easy. We know that it's Dr. ASHU NYENTY. This is his number. Now he's near with my Madame LIBôM. Now he met this and this. It's easy.
Have you proposed that to government?
We have proposed it. We make the proposal to the Ministry of Health, and even if they didn't react quickly, we start last week because we call young startup to do it. And we are also in negotiation with international partners. If they help us, we can develop it and put it at the disposition of health team on the ground. You know, there is a lot of things to do. And maybe in the Ministry of Health, they are focused on curing people and so on. And our role is to help them to better achieve what they are doing.
That's
so
good.
We are working very soon.
Governmental solidarity.
Yes, very soon we are going to give you information about what is developed by our startups to use artificial intelligence to match and to stop the spread of that pandemic.
That's good news, madam. Another good news again on this program. So many pieces of good news on this program. Now we're going towards the end of our conversation. Now, before coming to this conversation, I was reading so many studies, reports, and I was given to understand that many studies have shown that after COVID-19, there will be a boom in the telecommunications sector. Have you been able to think about that? Are you working to reap the fruits?
We are aware of it, and we are prepared. And it's even obvious, it's normal, because what has been done is that all the countries were surprised by this pandemic, and they were looking to what method to be used. And ICTs, digital economy, appear to be one of the ways to better stop the spread of that pandemic. You heard what happened in China, all many Asian countries. It means that, as I said before, we went in hurry to digitalize. After, it will be a boom because it will be easy. Even maybe our conversation can be even on a remote conversation. So there is
on Skype.
There will really be a boom, and we are prepared for it. And Cameroon, you know, the head of state is all again here demonstrate the way he see before us. In his last message in December 2018, he said that it's important to integrate the success of digital innovation to all what we are doing, because the developing, transforming society will not wait. So even for us, we are not waiting, because we know that things are going very fast and things are changing, and all the world is prepared to follow. If you don't follow, if you are not prepared, you are going to be used. If you don't program, you are going to be programmed by the other. So we are aware of it. We are prepared to really help allow Cameroon to benefit of that digital transformation.
I take the message, if you don't program, you are going to program by others.
This is true.
Madam Minette LIBôM, LIKÉNG, Minister of Posts and Telecommunication, I must say, I admire your insight. Thank you very much for this conversation.
Thank you also.
Thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay blessed, and goodbye.